Guys, and welcome back. We're watching Goji Center, my boy. This is my first video. More spinos. Things do not look good for the actual Tyrannosaurus Rex. So let's get right into this video.
Well, what do we have here? If you're one of those that still thought 3 Spinosaurus and 1 kaiju-sized Mozo wasn't enough, one of the latest Jurassic World Rebirth trailers comes to surprise us with a brand new entry to this franchise.
Yeah, the spinos are actually scientifically accurate now, which is actually kind of goated.
Another Spinosaurus! On this episode of Goji Center, we take the plunge once again into the depths of this hellish island to look into some of the new information and speculation involving some of the greatest comebacks in dinosaur history.
Look! This Tortoise Rex. Oh my god, he's... You know how
This is Jurassic World Rebirth.
Is actually,
Speculation involving some of the greatest comebacks in dinosaur
Look at the height difference. What the heck?
history. This is Jurassic World Rebirth's now even larger Spino Pack explored. We will get to explaining what this sailback and kaiju Mosa dynamic will likely bring to the film. Before that, however, we'll give you a bit of a recap on the sailback's role in Jurassic films, and then speculate on what would happen if these two entities met. So, if you didn't know...
It's Planet of the Dinosaurs. Whatever it's gonna call it.
The sailback sovereign of the Sahara, Spinosaurus aegypticus, has been a mainstay of the franchise since the 90s. Seen in obscure toys and video games from the Lost World era, and then stomped into the big screen in Jurassic Park 3, inflicting irreversible trauma.
I watched that movie like 7 times.
To a whole generation of T-Rex fanboys. Spared from a cut sequence involving a huge pack of raptors bringing
Rexy fanboys,
suggesting we would witness the sailback once again in the future, and then...
This is the insane.
Never seen again after more than 15 years. Enter Jurassic World in 2015, and the most we got was a shattered skeleton. Some would say a failed attempt at balming old wounds, but any hope of T-Rex retribution was left with a
Camp Cretaceous.
Our taste when it was finally reintroduced in Camp Cretaceous. Once again exhibiting how much of an apt combatant it still was, or could have been had it not been mind-controlled. So it was a great surprise when Godzilla 2014's Gareth Edwards...
Gareth F. Edwards. Fourth Spino has hit the D-Rex on... Oh, what the heck.
And David Kapp, writer for the first 2 Jurassic Park films, and unlucky snack for the buck, gave us more Spinosaurus than we ever thought we could get before. Almost as if all that Spino we should have gotten in 20 years was crammed into one movie. And with a new reveal at the CCXP show to some friends down south, we got more surprising news that there will be at least 4 Spinosaurus giving their best effort to murk the cast in the latest outing. This new revelation, behind-the-scenes info about the plot and movie, and
he did.
Rather interesting figure advertisements have gotten us eagerly speculating about the role these sailback...
I'm not a good pauser, and I pause too much.
We have seen social habits between the Tyrannosaurus and the franchise before, but the individual anomaly that was the angry Spino we saw in JP3 and Camp Cretaceous meant we never got to see this aspect before. In fact, given how territorial and aggro the last individual was, it might well have been the last super predator we would expect to be chummy with just about anyone. Some of the differences between the original specimen and this new quartet might even explain some of this. The Spinosaurus that debuted in Jurassic Park 3, canonically created sometime in the late 1990s, according to the viral marketing information, was made to be accurate to the understanding of the animal at the time. Essentially a Suchomimus on steroids with a round sail and tall frame. However, Spinosaurus was still a very poorly understood animal in the 1990s, and in-universe it might have been that Dr. Wu didn't have the best samples to work with. Attempts at patching up the genome and experimenting in the amalgam testing that seemed to create this creature might have... altered the end result. Some marketing material
I have nothing to say, but I will pause it.
On Sorna. The Scorpius Rex was the first intentionally created hybrid dinosaur, but Dr. Wu had already been splicing in patch DNA to finish out the genome.
It's him! I watched that movie! The original! This is in the original too!
Intentionally making them different at the time. Whatever happened in the 90s might have resulted in the Spinosaurus expressing traits more like typical theropods. Whether that was from modified genes or patches to the DNA to fix up anything that caused unintended side effects. It's just with science having an incomplete understanding of the creature at the time, nobody noticed the errors. And these errors, combined with it being created alone and experimented on by humans, might have resulted in the super predator we saw in 2001, being as aggressive as it was even before the Kirby's accidentally broke into its house and hit it with an airplane. By contrast, these new Spinosaurus haunting the island of
didn't hit him with the airplane. That was the blood from the person. No, he actually hit him with the airplane. I always said no, they didn't hit them with the airplane. That is not the person's blood, which I think is
Are you a caddy?
Fred, I don't know.
Did their body. When exactly these Spinosaurus came about is still unknown. If this installation was used for research and development for the second park, since
how about I do a watch with you guys?
Unusable, they may have been engineered sometime in the late 2000s to 2010s. We believe this is the case, and that this pack might be a more refined second attempt closer to the real thing. Spinosaurus's real-life social habits are still mysterious, but predators that hunt in the water like them, such as crocodiles and herons, tend to be surprisingly chummy with each other. A more refined creation with a more true-to-life body might
No! Goji Center! He been killing the Aptosaurus, or whatever I called it. I can't say dinosaur names right, but I'm a dino nerd. Yeah!
Up with a more true-to-life mind. And the Carnosaur family Spinosaurus belongs to does have indications implying at least some species, like Mapusaurus, were actually pretty social. Adding to this, the four we see do resemble each other close enough that it's possible this pack is a group of siblings, or at least two sets of siblings that paired off as mates. As long as they grow up in the right environment, even solitary predators that are intelligent tend to still be friendly to blood relatives. Tigers and bears can maintain family bonds even after years living alone. Survival in the wild is a matter of your bloodline making it to the next generation, so making sure your siblings survive too is often a wise strategy. The group being related, the universal wouldn't slip on the upper. They can be distinguished by the thickness of said stripes. The exact names and relations between the pack members we just don't know yet, but we would expect the universal wouldn't slip on the...
So... here, let me do something. D-Rex versus 4 Spino. We're gonna drop.
What are you doing?
It's the big one, the Indominus Rex. That's a Spino.
The opportunity to market the pack individually like they did the Raptor Squad. This is also a reason why we were skeptical of early rumors that the classic Spinosaurus would be returning as the leader of the pack. Had the original Spinosaurus met this new quartet, we doubt they'd rise to the top or have the friendliest reaction to each other. Given the original InGen Spino had been through as much as it did to make it one of the most aggressive beasts in the series, and having to rough it alone on one of the most dangerous locations in the franchise for years, it might not exactly be the most
I got on
sociable
Goji
beast.
Center's live
That is
yesterday.
because social predators with...
I got on Goji Center's live yesterday. It sounded like this. What's up, mate? It even sounds as deep as it does.
Groups can be hostile to outsiders, and Sorna's apex predator would be an uncanny-looking stranger to the pack. Remember, in nature, those who lead groups rarely got there by beating down all the others. Had the JP3 Spino reacted to this new pack with the aggression it treated other predators and tried to forcefully take over, the Spino would quickly find himself outnumbered by the retaliating pack. This fearsome foursome certainly are going to be a major threat to the cast, alongside their colossal Mosasaurus mosasaur ally. But there is also another threat in the water that might be less friendly to them. This minifigure playset showcasing some of the boat scene also shows off this whole area seeming to be full of sea mines. If this is true, we might end up leaving the movie with fewer sailbacks than we started. That or the Spinosaurus might even be aware of this danger and were intentionally driving the boat towards it. But this may not be the only action scene we see the sailbacks in for the next movie. In a movie that apparently has very familiar-looking quilled raptors, abandoned laboratories, stranded families, hostile pterosaurs, and Spino-inflicted violence towards boats, it seems like Jurassic Park 3 nostalgia is in. And while the new crop of sailbacks might not be pitted against the new Tyrannosaurus, water-loving as it is, the classic showdown from almost a quarter of a century ago might be revived in a new form. A recent toy commercial for the Colossal Clash figures prominently showed off one member of the Spinosaurus pack pitted against the new Tower of Terror in this latest outing, the Distortus Rex. However, as educated by grown men slamming toys together like we did in our younger days, just one Spinosaurus...
I'm young. I still do that. Turn on captions.
Might not cut it against a Goliath bruiser like this. Seems to spoil the outcome pretty obviously, with the Abomination winning in the commercial. Note, however, that the commercial makes a point to bring up how intelligent the Spinosaurus is. More genius than Bruiser. Definitely something that doesn't sound much like its counterpart back on Sorna. Especially if the Distortus itself might be pretty sharp, with how it curiously plays with its latest victim in the trailer. But if the point was to be brains versus brawn, why fight solo? Notice how in the trailers the Distortus seems to catch up to the cast at a dock, and Mahershala Ali's character Duncan seems to be heroically trying to draw it away into following him. And where is it following him? The water. And he lures it into increasingly deep water. As silly as the toy commercial is, it might have a point. One mighty predator might not be enough to stand up to this gargantuan abomination. But in an almost perfect reversal of that cut sequence with a pack of raptors jumping the Spino to bring it down, now we might have a pack of Spinos to even the odds. The Distortus is a massive monster and might prove to be one of the most powerful in the franchise. Too much for one rival predator to safely bring it down.
Talk to my dad about the
addition of the fourth Spino, and now seeing that this is a considerably large pack, makes us think that these are turning out to be expendable. At the end of the film, if we do indeed get a Spino versus Distortus showdown, having a 4v1 melee is a bit of an uneven fight. Unless, of course, the Distortus pulls off a genius maneuver. Unlikely, given that Colossal Clash hinted at the Spinos being smart as well. We might end up seeing something like a 3 versus 1 or even a 2v1. Meaning that somewhere along the film, we should not be surprised if the Spino count starts diminishing. Either by human-made weapons, perhaps another dinosaur, or perhaps even witnessing a D-Rex going berserk and taking out a good number of these all by itself. The finale to the next movie might yet involve the biggest theropod melee we have ever seen, possibly showcasing the deadliest pack in the franchise against the largest monstrous force yet.
It's time to open up my first pack of the day. All right, Pikachu, I choose you. Here we go. Squirtle, so cute. We got Diglett going into Paris. Rapidash, cool. Oh, Arcanine EX. If you move it around, it has this awesome 3D effect. It looks like the fire is coming right out of the card. You've got to download Pokemon TCG Pocket.
Already did.
The Indominus Rex and Indoraptor, both